Long ago, on a peaceful planet called Viren, humans and aliens lived together. The air was clean. The skies were full of stars, and the ground glowed softly at night. It was a beautiful place where people of different worlds tried to live in. Peaced out in a small colony near the hills, a boy named Tom lived with his father, who worked as a mechanic. Tom was simple, quiet, and liked to fix things. He didn't have many friends, but he loved to walk near the forest and watch the twin moons rise. One day, while exploring a hill, he saw someone sitting alone near the glowing rocks. It was an alien girl about his age. She had teal blue skin, long black hair, and soft eyes. She looked lonely but calm. Tom had never seen her before. He walked closer and asked, "Are you okay?" The girl looked at him and nodded. "Yes, I'm just thinking." "I'm Tom," he said with a smile. "I'm Leary," she replied. From that moment, their friendship began. Every evening, Tom and Leary met near the same hill. They would talk about their worlds. Tom showed her how to build small machines using spare parts from his father's workshop. Leary showed him how to listen to the wind and understand the language of trees, something her people believed in. They laughed, played, and shared simple food. Sometimes, they just sat quietly under the stars. Leary once told Tom, "Your world feels like a dream. I like it here." Tom smiled and said, "Then stay forever." She looked at him and softly replied, "Maybe I will. One day." During a small festival in the colony, Tom and Leary entered a game. It was a simple challenge: solve a puzzle and light up the crystal. Many older kids joined, but it was Tom and Leary who won. The people clapped, and Leary's face glowed with joy. Tom laughed and said in front of everyone, "If we keep winning like this, I'll have to marry you." Leary blinked. "Really? It's a joke," Tom said, smiling. "Just a silly joke." But Leary did not smile. She looked at him seriously and said, "In my world, promises are not jokes." Tom laughed again. But inside, he felt estranged, feeling like he had said something important without meaning to. A week later, something changed. Tom went to the hill as usual, but Leary was not there. He waited for hours, then ran to her small home in the alien quarter of the colony. The door was closed. A neighbor told him her family left this morning. They were called back to their world. Tom was shocked. He hadn't even said goodbye. Days passed, then weeks. Leary never returned. Tom stopped going to the hill. Life continued. He grew older. He worked with his father and became good at repairing machines. But deep inside, he always remembered the teal blue girl with soft eyes. 10 years later, Tom was now in his 20s. He lived alone and worked in the main city of Viren. He had become a quiet man who liked fixing old tech and avoiding crowds. He had no close friends and didn't talk much about his past. One evening, he sat outside his workshop, watching the twin moons rise. Suddenly, a bright light lit up the sky. A large alien ship was landing near the center of the city. It was elegant, smooth, and glowing with soft blue light. People gathered around, curious and excited. Tom didn't care much. Big ships came and went. Important visitors always made noise. He turned to go back inside when his comm device beeped. It was a message, simple and clear. "I'm coming back. I remember everything." Tom stared at the screen. His hands began to shake. Was it really her? The next morning, the city was buzzing. The alien ship had landed fully, and a crowd waited outside the landing zone. Many thought it was a royal visit or some kind of political event. Tom didn't want to go, but his feet moved on their own. He stood at the edge of the crowd as the ship's door opened slowly. A group of alien guards stepped out, followed by a tall woman in a shining robe. She had teal blue skin. Her long black hair waved gently in the wind. Her eyes were calm, deep, and kind. It was her, Leary. She looked older, stronger, and more graceful. She walked past the guards and crowd, heading straight toward one person, Tom. People moved aside as she walked. She stopped in front of him, looked into his eyes, and smiled softly. "You promised," she said. Tom's mouth opened, but no words came. I have returned for you, she continued. The vow still stands. Everyone around them whispered. Some laughed, some were confused. Tom finally spoke. Wait, are you serious? Leary nodded. Very serious. In my world, a promise of union is sacred, and I have waited long enough. Tom stood frozen. His heart raced. A part of him wanted to run. Another part whispered, you meant it, even if you didn't know. He looked around. The crowd was watching. The guards stood silently. Then Leary said clearly, the ceremony will be arranged. It is time to join to hearts and to worlds. And before Tom could say a word, she turned and walked back toward the ship. Tom could not sleep that night. He lay in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. His mind kept repeating Leary's words. You promised. I have returned for you. It had been 10 long years since he last saw her. She was a child back, then sweet, quiet, and curious. Now she had returned as a grown alien woman, confident and graceful, in front of the entire city, and she remembered the joke he made when they were kids. She had taken it as a real promise. The next morning, the city was full of talk. News screens showed Leary's arrival. Some called her a princess from her world. Others believed she was a high official from the Council of Elders, a group that guided her people. Tom avoided the news and stayed inside his workshop. He fixed an old cleaning bot and tried to focus, but his hands were shaking. His mind kept drifting back to the past. Why had she waited so long? Why now? And more importantly, what did she mean by ceremony at noon? A knock came at his door. Tom opened it slowly and was shocked to see the alien guards standing outside. They were tall, wore silver armor, and had long staffs that glowed at the ends. One of them said, You are Tom? Yes, he replied quietly. You are requested to appear before the Unity Hall at once. Lady Leary is waiting. Without giving him a chance to refuse, the guards turned and began walking. Tom had no choice. He followed them. The Unity Hall was a tall, round building at the center of the city. It was used for special meetings between humans and alien leaders. Tom had only seen it once from outside. Now, he was walking inside it with his heart pounding. The guards led him through glowing halls and finally into a large room filled with alien lights and floating orbs. In the center, on a platform, stood Leary. She wore a new robe today, light blue with gold patterns. Her hair was tied back, and her face was calm, almost royal. Tom, she said, stepping forward. You came? Tom nodded slowly. I didn't have much choice. Leary smiled. Some things are not a choice. They are destiny. He looked around the room. Why am I here? What do you want from me? She walked closer and spoke gently. 10 years ago, you made a promise. You may not have meant it in your way, but in my world, words spoken with heart are binding. You offered union, and I accepted. Tom scratched his head. But I was a child. I didn't even understand what I was saying. Your soul understood, Leary replied. And I never forgot, even when I was far away. I believed that one day you would stand beside me again. Tom looked down. Her words were kind, but heavy. Leary. He said, You've changed. You've grown into something powerful, important. I'm just a machine fixer. I live alone. I don't belong in whatever big plan this is. Leary didn't argue. She simply said, Come with me. She led him to a round table where a glowing orb floated above the center. This is a memory crystal, Leary said. It will show you what I have seen, what I have felt. The orb lit up, and Tom saw images, memories from Leary's life. He saw her leaving Virion with her family. He saw her crying in silence, holding a small drawing Tom once gave her. He saw her training, learning, growing strong in her people's ways. He saw her speaking to elders about peace between humans and her kind, and again and again. She remembered one thing him. When the light faded, Tom felt strange, touched, a little lost. Why did you show me this? He asked. Because. Leary said, What comes next is not just about you and me. It is about our worlds. Some still fear humans, others fear unity. But a bond between us could change everything. We can build something new. Tom blinked. Wait, are you saying this is political? Leary smiled. It began with a promise, but now it can be more. A sign of trust, of future. Tom stepped back. That's too much. I didn't ask for this. I know. She said gently, but maybe. You were chosen for a reason. Just then, a loud chime echoed through the hall. A council member, a tall human with gray hair, entered the room. Tom, we need to speak. Leary stepped aside, letting the man come forward. The council member said, Son, do you understand what's happening here? Not fully, Tom admitted. The girl this alien woman has made an official request. She wants to begin a union. Ceremony, if approved, it will mark a new era of connection between our people. But not all are happy about this. Tom frowned. Why not? There are those who think this bond is a trick, that the aliens are using you to gain something. And on the other side, some of her people don't want humans involved at all. Tom felt pressure building in his chest. So what do you want from me? The man looked serious. We want you to delay the ceremony or even cancel it for peace. Leary's voice rose. If he cancels, it will be seen as an insult. It could bring tension, even war. Tom looked at both of them, trapped between two worlds. After a long silence, he said, I need time, please. Leary nodded. Take one day. Come to the hill tomorrow, the place where we first met. I will wait. Then she turned and left the room. Tom stood alone. The city outside was full of light, voices, and hope. But inside him, everything was stormy. He had made a simple joke as a child. Now, that joke had become something real, something big. And tomorrow, he had to make a choice. The next day came slowly. Tom had barely slept. His thoughts were heavy. His heart beat fast. He stood near his small window, looking at the sky, thinking about everything. Leary was waiting at the old hill, the place they first met when they were children. She said she would wait for him. But before Tom could leave, two visitors arrived. They wore dark uniforms and had silver badges. One was a human named Rel, and the other was an alien named Mova. Both were part of the Peace Council, the group that watched over all human-alien matters on Varian. Tom, Rel said, we need to talk before you meet Leary. Tom sighed. I don't want trouble. Mova, the alien woman, spoke softly. That's exactly what we want to prevent. They sat inside Tom's small workshop. Rel placed a small cube on the table. It glowed and showed a symbol, to hands. One human, one alien, reaching toward each other but not touching. That's the sign of the Unity Code, Rel said. It's an old agreement between your people and hers. But it's fragile. One wrong move, and it breaks. Tom listened, unsure what they meant. Leary is not just anyone, Mova added. She's from the ancient line of speakers' voices, of her people. What she says in public becomes law among her kind. Tom blinked. You mean, if she says we're to be married, then that's law? Mova nodded. Too many, yes. Rel leaned forward. But here's the problem. Not all. Her people want peace with humans. Some are afraid. Some are angry. If this bond between you and Leary is forced, they may fight it. Tom frowned. So you're saying I should say no? Rel looked serious. We're saying be careful. You may not just be breaking a promise. You could be starting something bigger than both of you. Tom didn't answer. His eyes were on the glowing cube. Finally, he said, I'll talk to her. I'll go to the hill. But I need to know what's really going on. Rel nodded. Just remember, words can build peace, but they can also start storms. Mova pressed a small button on the cube. It blinked and saved the meeting. Then both of them stood and left. A few hours later, Tom made his way to the hill. It was just as he remembered: soft grass, glowing rocks, and the sound of wind in the trees. The twin moons were rising early that day, their light shining through the clouds. And there she was, Leary, sitting on the rock where they once watched the stars. She turned when she heard him. Her face lit up. You came, she said. Tom sat beside her. I said I would. They sat in silence for a moment. Finally, Tom spoke. Leary, do you really want this? Or is this just part of something bigger? Leary looked at him with calm eyes. What do you think? Tom shook his head. I don't know. When we were kids, I made a joke. You took it seriously. But now it feels like I'm part of some plan I don't understand. Leary turned to face him fully. Yes, there is more. I came back because of the promise, but also because danger is coming. Tom blinked. Danger? She nodded. There's a group in my world. They believe humans are not equal. They want to break the peace and return to the old ways. If I join with you, it will stop them. My voice will become stronger. It will show our people that humans are part of our future. Tom looked at the ground. So I'm just a symbol to them? No, Leary said gently. To them, maybe, but to me, you are Tom, the boy who made me laugh when I was lonely, the one who fixed my broken toy and taught me how to build. I never forgot that. Tom didn't know what to say. His heart felt heavy and warm at the same time. But there's more, Leary said, and her voice lowered. She reached into her robe and pulled out a small crystal. It shimmered softly. This is a guide key, she said. It leads to something hidden, something built long ago. A machine created during the dark times, before peace began. Tom's eyes widened. A weapon? Leary nodded. Yes, and someone is trying to wake it. They both stood up. The wind was picking up. Leary held out the crystal. This key is reacting to you. I don't know why, but I believe it's because you carry something, some spark that connects to the old power. Tom stepped back. Wait, me? Yes, she said. That's why they fear you. That's why they want to stop us. Tom felt dizzy. One day ago, he was fixing old machines. Now he was being told he might be linked to ancient weapons and a war between worlds. I don't know what to do. He said. Liri placed the crystal in his hand. Just come with me. Tomorrow, we go to the vault beneath the city. We find the machine. We stop it before others do. Tom looked at the glowing crystal. It pulsed softly in his palm. I'll come, he said finally, but not because of the joke, not because of politics. I'll come because I trust you. Leary smiled. That's all I needed to hear. As they walked back toward the city, a shadow watched from behind the trees, a tall figure in dark robes, eyes glowing faintly. Spoken to a hidden device. They have the key. Begin the next phase. Next morning, the sky over Varian was quiet, but something in the air felt different, heavier. Like a storm was waiting. Tom stood at the edge of the city, holding the glowing crystal Leary gave him. It pulsed softly in his hand, warm and steady. He had barely slept. His thoughts were full of questions. Why did the crystal react to him? What was this ancient machine Leary spoke of? And why did everything feel like it was getting more serious with every step? Leary arrived wearing a simple white robe. Her face was calm, but her eyes looked tired. Are you ready? She asked softly. Tom nodded. As ready as I'll ever be. They walked together through quiet streets until they reached a hidden gate behind the old archives. Leary pressed the crystal into a round panel. The wall slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel leading underground. This was built long ago, Leary explained. Few know about it now. It was made during the war years. They stepped inside. The tunnel was dark and cool. Strange symbols glowed on the walls as they passed. Tom could hear a low humming sound. Deep below. After walking for many minutes, they reached a wide stone chamber. In the center stood a large circular door covered in carvings. This is the Vault of Echoes, Leary said. Before we go further, you must pass the trial. Tom frowned. What kind of trial? Leary stepped aside. It's not a test of strength. It's a test of truth, your truth. The vault needs to know your heart is clear. Tom looked uneasy. And what happens if it's not? She didn't answer. The door opened with a soft rumble. Inside was a small round room, lit only by the glow of the crystal. As soon as Tom stepped in, the door closed behind him. The room changed. The light grew brighter. Tom looked around and saw something strange. The walls were showing scenes from his past. He saw himself as a child, laughing with Leary on the hill. He saw himself fixing her broken toy. Then he saw the day she left, the sadness in his eyes, the loneliness that followed. Another scene appeared. This time, it was a memory. He tried to forget him, years later, ignoring a message from a friend who needed help. He was too busy. The friend had an accident. Guilt hit his heart. A voice echoed in the chamber. It was deep, but calm. Do you run from your past? Tom stepped forward. Sometimes, yes. The voice asked again. Do you fear the bond? Tom swallowed. Yes, because I don't know if I deserve it. Then the walls shifted again. He saw Leary alone in a great hall, holding a small drawing of the two of them. She was whispering his name. His chest tightened. The voice asked once more. Do you still carry the promise? Tom took a deep breath. I never meant to hurt her. I thought it was a joke. But now, I know it mattered. To her. To me. Yes, I carry it. The light grew brighter, then slowly dimmed. The door opened. Leary stood waiting outside. She saw his face and smiled. You passed, she said. Tom nodded. That wasn't easy. No, she agreed. Truth never is. They walked deeper into the vault. Strange machines lined the walls, old, broken, and covered in dust. But ahead of them stood something massive, a giant metal structure shaped like a circle, with long arms folded into its body. It looked like a sleeping beast. This is the Silent Core, Leary said. It was built by the first scientists of my world. It holds great power, but it was locked away. Tom stepped closer. Why? Because it chose someone once. And that person destroyed half a city. Tom stopped. And now it's choosing me. Leary looked serious. I don't know why it reacts to you, but someone else is trying to use it. We need to speak to it before they do. Tom raised the crystal. It floated from his hand and flew to the machine's center. Light filled the room. The metal arms opened slowly, and a deep voice echoed. Spark recognized. Human soul detected. Prepare interface. Suddenly, beams of light wrapped around Tom. He felt no pain, but his mind filled with images, stars, planets, war, peace, faces of people long gone. Then the voice spoke again. You carry a bond of two worlds. You are not warrior, but bridge. Your choice will shape the path. The light faded. Tom fell to his knees, breathing hard. Leary rushed to him. Are you okay? He nodded slowly. It showed me everything, and it called me a bridge. Leary smiled softly. Then maybe that's why it chose you. Before they could speak more, the vault suddenly shook. Alarms lit up along the walls. A warning flashed in both their languages. Unauthorized entry detected. Tom stood quickly. They found us. Leary pulled him behind a pillar. A door burst open. 5 dark-robed figures entered the vault. Their leader had glowing eyes and a mark on his face, an old war symbol. The leader pointed. Get the key and the bridge. Tom and Leary ran. The Silent Core began to glow again, protecting them with a wall of light. The rebels shouted, trying to break through. We need to leave, Leary said. There's a second path. She pressed a hidden switch on the wall. A small tunnel opened. Beside them, they ran inside, just as the rebels blasted the barrier behind them. The escape tunnel led them back to the surface. They came out near an old tower at the city's edge. Tom fell to the ground, breathing hard. We almost didn't make it. Leary sat beside him. This is just the beginning. They want to stop the bond. They fear the change it brings. Tom looked at the stars above. Then maybe it's time to stop joking and start believing. Tom sat beside Leary under the stars, his back resting against the cool wall of the old tower. His heart was still racing after their escape from the vault. Dust covered his clothes. His hands were scratched, but his thoughts were far from his pain. The Silent Core had called him the bridge. The rebels wanted him gone. And now he knew this was more than just a childhood promise. It was something bigger. Leary looked over at him. Her voice was quiet but clear. Tom, we must stop them before they wake the weapon. Tom looked at her. What kind of weapon? She turned her face toward the night sky. Long ago, during the first contact between our worlds, a machine was built beneath the city, not for war but as a last shield. It was powered by both alien energy and human design, a mix of two minds. Tom frowned. Why would they build such a thing? To protect peace, Leary replied. But peace didn't need it, so it was locked away. She paused and then added, but some want to wake it again and twist its purpose. The next morning, they traveled in secret through the quiet alleys of Viren. Most of the city still didn't know what was happening. The council believed it was best to keep the danger hidden for now. Leary led Tom to a place beneath the central dome of the old city, a forgotten maintenance shaft hidden behind an old supply station. "This goes deep underground," she said, "to the core lock chamber. That's where the weapon sleeps." Tom looked at the dark hole and took a deep breath. "Let's go." They climbed down slowly. The air became colder and heavier as they went deeper. Tom's hand held a small torch that blinked softly in the darkness after what felt like hours. They reached a large steel door. Alien writing glowed faintly across it. Leary placed her palm on the door. The crystal from earlier floated again from Tom's pocket and hovered near the lock. With a soft hum, the door opened. Inside was a giant space. The floor was covered with old wires and metal plates. In the center stood a massive machine, shaped like a spider with folded legs. Its eyes were shut, but red sparks blinked inside. Tom stared at it. "That's it," Leary nodded. "Yes, the Unity Warden. It watches peace and can destroy threats." Tom stepped closer. "It looks like it's dreaming." Leary spoke softly. "It's waiting for a command." Suddenly, the red sparks inside the machine grew brighter. A low sound echoed through the chamber. A voice came from the shadows. "That won't be necessary. We're here to give it one." Tom and Leary turned quickly. The same group of rebels from the vault entered the room, this time with more people and heavier weapons. Their leader stepped forward. His dark cloak moved like smoke, and the war mark on his face was clearer now. He looked at Tom. "You are the bridge," the man said. "And bridges can be broken." Leary stepped in front of Tom. "You won't touch him." The man raised his hand. "I don't want to touch him. I want to erase him." With a gesture, the rebels aimed their devices at Tom. But before they could shoot, the Unity Warden began to glow. Its eyes lit up. Its legs unfolded. The chamber shook. A voice came from the machine, deep and loud. "Hostile intent detected. Bridge in danger. Defense mode activated." Beams of light shot from the wardens' arms, striking the rebels' weapons. Sparks flew. The rebels screamed and ran for cover. Tom and Leary ducked behind a pillar as the machine stepped forward, its legs hitting the ground with thunder-like sounds. The leader growled. "We'll return with stronger fire." He threw a black sphere to the floor. Smoke filled the chamber. When it cleared, the rebels were gone. Silence returned. The machine stood still once more, but its eyes remained open. Leary looked at it. "It protected you." Tom slowly stood up. "It called me the bridge again." Leary nodded. "It listens to you. That's why they're afraid. That's why they want to stop the bond." Tom looked at his hands. "I'm not special. I didn't ask for any of this. But you're here," she said gently. "And the machine knows something about you, something none of us do yet." They returned to the surface through a hidden lift inside the chamber. As they reached the city, they found a message waiting on Tom's communicator. It was from the Human Council. "Return to the Unity Hall immediately. You are needed." Leary and Tom looked at each other. There was no time to rest. At the Unity Hall, the mood was serious. The council room was full. Leaders from both human and alien sides sat around a wide table. Guards stood at every corner. A human leader, a man named Marshal Drin, stood and pointed at Tom. "You went into restricted zones. You triggered an ancient defense unit. You endangered the city." Tom took a step forward. "I didn't start this. I stopped an attack." Drin didn't blink. "Even so, your connection to the Warden makes you a threat. We may need to remove you from Viren." Leary's eyes flared. "He saved lives. He is the reason we still have time." A female alien leader, older and wise-looking, spoke softly. "I watched the Warden through our remote lens. It followed him, not the others. That machine was built with both our codes. It accepts him. We must not fear the bridge. We must learn from him." The room fell silent. Then Drin said, "There's one condition. If the bond is to continue, he must take the trial of worlds." Tom asked, "What is that?" "It's a public ceremony," Drin said. "One that proves your heart, your mind, and your will. If you pass, the people will trust the bond. If you fail, it ends forever." Tom looked at Lyra. She nodded. "I'll be with you." He took a deep breath. "Then I'll do it." The day of the Trial of Worlds arrived quickly. The city of Virion was buzzing with excitement and nervous energy. Streets were decorated with glowing banners showing both human and alien symbols. People from many worlds gathered to watch the ceremony that could change everything. Tom stood in a quiet room, wearing a simple robe given by Leary. His hands shook slightly. He looked at himself in a mirror, barely recognizing the man who once fixed machines alone. Leary entered quietly and smiled. "You are ready. You carry more than a promise now." Tom nodded, taking a deep breath. "I hope so." Outside, thousands filled the ceremony plaza, a large open space under the twin moons. The council members sat on high platforms, watching carefully. Cameras floated in the air, sending images everywhere. Tom and Leary stepped onto the stage. A soft hum filled the air as an ancient device activated. The Trial of Worlds began. The first test was of heart. A glowing orb appeared and showed memories from Tom's past, his childhood with Leary. His mistakes, his joys, and his regrets. Tom had to answer questions aloud. "Do you regret breaking your promise?" Tom's voice was firm. "No, I didn't understand it then, but I never forgot her or what she meant to me." "Do you trust her?" "Yes," he said without pause. "I trust her with my life." The orb glowed brighter. Next came the test of mind. Strange puzzles appeared on floating screens. Tom had to solve them quickly: math problems, alien codes, and logic games. The crowd watched in silence as he worked, his brow furrowed in concentration. Slowly, one by one, he solved every puzzle. The orb brightened again, and the crowd clapped. Softly, the final test was of will. Tom faced a strange device that created illusions. Suddenly, he found himself alone on a dark hill. The wind howled. He saw a vision of Leary walking away, turning her back on him forever. "Give up," a voice whispered. "You are not worthy. You can't protect her." Tom's heart pounded, but he stood firm. "No," he said aloud, "I will not give up. Not now. Not ever." The illusion faded, and the orb shone brilliantly. A deep voice echoed through the plaza. "The Trial of Worlds is complete. The bridge stands true." The crowd erupted in cheers. Leary smiled brightly and stepped forward to hold Tom's hand. Suddenly, alarms rang. Guards rushed in. A rebel leader appeared on the stage, his face angry and scarred. "This ceremony is a lie," he shouted. "The bond between humans and aliens will bring war, not peace." The crowd gasped. The rebels began to move toward the stage. Leary stepped in front of Tom, raising her hand. "Stop," she commanded. "This bond is the future." Tom took a step forward, voice calm but strong. "We face fear every day, but we choose to stand together, not as enemies, but as partners." The rebels sneered. "Words mean nothing without power." Suddenly, the sky darkened. Ships appeared above the city, fast, armed, and ready for battle. The council's guards prepared for war. Tom looked at Leary. "This is the moment." Leary nodded. Together, they raised their hands. Light flowed between them, bright and pure. The Unity Warden, now fully awake, rose from underground. It stood tall above the city, a symbol of peace and strength. Its voice boomed, "Peace is the path. Unity is power." The rebel ships hesitated. Tom's words echoed across the crowd. "We can choose war, or we can choose peace. But peace needs courage." Slowly, the ships turned away. The city cheered louder than before. The council members stood, some clapping, others nodding in respect. Leary smiled at Tom. "We did it together." Tom smiled back. "I guess the joke was real after all." After the Trial of Worlds and the return of peace, life in Virion slowly began to change. Tom and Leary stood together in the city square, hand in hand, surrounded by people of many kinds: humans, aliens, and others. The bond they shared was no longer a secret or a joke. It was a symbol of hope. In the days that followed, the council officially recognized their union. The ceremony was simple but meaningful, a mix of human and alien traditions. Tom learned how to read the ancient scripts of Leary's people, while Leary learned about human celebrations. Every day, their friendship grew stronger, turning into a deep and true love. One afternoon, Tom sat with his father in the small workshop where he had started years ago. His father looked at him, proud. "You have done well, son," he said. "Not many can carry the weight you bear." Tom smiled softly. "I never thought a joke would lead to this," his father nodded. "Sometimes the smallest words have the greatest meaning." Meanwhile, Leary worked with leaders from both worlds to build a future where humans and aliens could live together in peace and friendship. They created schools where children from all species learned together. They opened markets filled with foods and crafts from distant planets, and they shared stories under the twin moons, reminding everyone that friendship could overcome fear. But not everyone was happy. Some still doubted the bond between Tom and Leary. Some whispered in dark places that the peace would not last. Yet, Tom and Leary faced these fears with courage. They knew that change was never easy, but it was always worth fighting for. One evening, as they watched the stars from the hill where they first met, Leary took Tom's hand. "Do you remember when we made that silly promise?" she asked, smiling. Tom laughed. "How could I forget? I never thought it would mean so much." Leary looked into his eyes. It was more than a joke. It was the start of everything. Tom squeezed her hand gently. "Then let's make sure it lasts." As the twin moons rose high in the sky, the city below sparkled with light and life. The bond of two worlds had begun. And for Tom and Leary, the future was full of hope.